Welcome back once again to the Imaginary Gallery. It is TJ, your host, and we're on the list of the 10 different types of abusive people according to Lundy Bancroft and his book I keep showing. Why does he do that? Inside the minds of angry and controlling men or women or anyone else. The 8th one on the list I find especially interesting and fitting because it involves the classic psychopath slash sociopath slash cluster B trick of the pity play. It's built into this one. The victim. The victim. Lundy Bancroft starts this part off by telling us life has been so hard, so unfair for the victim. To hear it tell it, its intelligence has been chronically underestimated. It's been burned by people that he or she trusted. Its good intentions have been misunderstood. The victim appeals to a partner's compassion and desire to feel that he or she can make a difference in this person's life. This type of creature many times will tell persuasive and heartbreaking stories about how it was abused by a former partner or by its parents, or family, or sister, or brother, sometimes adding in the tragic element that, for example, his ex-wife is restricting or preventing his contact with his children. This type of creature maneuvers the partner into hating the ex-partner and may succeed in enlisting him or her in a campaign of harassment, rumor spreading, and custody battles. Now, Bancroft tells us that as a counselor of abusive men, dozens of times he's been in the position of interviewing a man's former partner and then speaking with the new one. The new partner usually speaks at length about what a wicked witch the woman was before her. Lundy can't tell her what he knows, as much as he wishes he could, because of his responsibility to protect the confidentiality and safety of the former partner. All Lundy can say is, I always recommend, whenever there are claims of emotional or physical abuse, that the two partners talk to each other directly and not just accept the man's denial in this case. He tells us that women sometimes ask him,
but what if the man I'm dating really was victimized by his former girlfriend? How can I tell the difference?
Well, this, my dear, is what I was stating was important. He gives you some pointers for detecting false victims and pity play pursuers. Number 1 on the list, if you listen carefully, many times you can hear the difference between anger towards an ex-partner, which would not be worrisome by itself, and disrespect and contempt, which should raise red flags. Someone who has left a relationship with bitterness should nonetheless be able to talk about the ex-partner as if it were a human being, with some understanding of what the partner's side of the conflict was and some ways that he might have contributed to whatever had gone wrong. If this person speaks in a degrading or in superior ways about the partner, or makes everything that went wrong in the relationship the other person's fault, be careful, because it's very likely that this person you're speaking with was actually the abusive one. Number 2, try to get this person to talk about its own conduct in that previous relationship, especially during the breakup. If it blames its own behavior on her or him, that's a bad sign, another red flag. Number 3, be particularly careful with someone who claims to have been the victim of physical violence by a previous partner. And again, this book is written about men, so it's stating to be particularly careful of when a man claims a woman was violent. He says the great majority of men who make such claims are actually the physical abusive ones. Ask him for as much detail as you can about these violent incidents, and then try to talk to her. the ex, or seek out anybody else who could give you a different perspective on what possibly really happened. Watch for the warning signs of abusiveness. Number 4, pay attention to how he or she talks and thinks about abused people. A genuine male victim tends to feel sympathy for abused women and support their cause. The victim, on the other hand, many times says that women exaggerate or fabricate their claims of abuse, or insists that men are abused just as much as ladies are. Now, the victim may adopt the language of abused victims, claiming, for example, that the ex-partner was focused on power and control, disrespected him or her, always had to have his or her own way. In a few years, this creature will be using similar reality inversion language about you, unless, of course, you kowtow to him to his satisfaction. The victim is highly self-centered in relationships. Everything seems to revolve around its wounds, and it keeps itself at the center of attention. If you have kids, it tries to get them to feel very sorry for it as well. It seems forever to be telling you,
"You don't understand me. You don't appreciate me. You hold my mistakes over my head."
Yet you sense that the dynamic is actually the other way around. If you stand up to it about these distortions, it will tell you that you are being abusive, or says, "You just can't tolerate me standing up to your bullying." This recurring inversion of reality is similar to what happens with Mr. or Mrs. Sensitive, but without the introspective psychology, gentle man, or recovering alcoholic routines. If you leave this person, you risk it seeking custody of your kids, presenting itself in court as the victim of your abuse. Now, again, isn't that sweet? A lot of times the victim claims to be victimized not only by you, but also by its boss, the neighbors, its parents, its friends, and strangers on the street. Everybody's always wronging this creature. It is always blameless. When the victim joins an abuser group, its story tends to go like this. "I put up with my partner's mistreatment of me for so many years, and I never fought back or even tried to defend myself against her, but I finally couldn't take it anymore, and I started to give her just a little of what she's given me, so now I've been labeled as abusive. Women are allowed to do those things and nobody cares, but as soon as a man does it, he's a pariah." This line of reasoning often develops into a discussion of how men are the victims of women overall in society, because ladies run the world. This is a startling distortion given the fact that men generally dominate almost all legislatures, police departments, businesses, and so on. When Lundy points this reality out to the victim, it describes a kind of paranoid fantasy in which women are behind the scenes secretly pulling the strings, largely by getting men to feel sorry for them. Its capacity for turning things into their opposites in this way is a central cause of its abusiveness. If you're involved with the victim and want to get out and escape this abuse, you may find that you feel guilty towards it, despite its treatment of you, and you may have difficulty ending the relationship because of this. You may feel that because this person's life was so hard, you don't want to add to that person's pain. Because why? Because you have empathy, and you're afraid that if you leave, this person may not take care of itself. You don't want to be the one who abandoned it as well. You may worry that it'll wither away from depression, will stop eating or sleeping, or might even attempt suicide. The victim knows how to present itself as helpless and pathetic, so that you will find it harder to take your own life back. In the box, Bancroft says, the central attitudes driving the victim are, "Everybody's done me wrong, especially the women I've been involved with, or me."
When you accuse me of being abusive, you are joining the parade of all the people in the past who have been cruel and unfair to me. It proves that you're just like they are.
"It's justifiable for me to do to you whatever I feel you are doing to me, and even to make it quite a bit worse. to make sure you get the message.
Women who complain of mistreatment by men, such as relationship abuse or sexual harassment, are anti-male, and they're just out for blood.
I've had it so hard that I'm not responsible for my actions.
I suppose you want me to tell you how I used you? My parents knew that I was a hoe. I had a different boy over for every holiday. So many, in fact, my parents couldn't even keep the names straight. You don't know how humiliating it was when I left one lover for his lover, and my father called him by the wrong name of the other one, and I was mortified. Oh, dear. Oh, because he wasn't supposed to know we were even together. I just told him it was a different one. But anyway, the reason why I used you is because you were stable. I could tell you had a good job you've had for the last 5 or 6 years. You paid your bills, unlike me, please. I have no credit, because those people ruined it. Those banks ruined it. They scammed me. I needed to appear legitimate. I needed my family to trust in me because they had some money I was going to try to tap into, but they didn't think I was worthy of it because I was so unstable. So, honey, you were there to be my stability. I wanted to bring you to my family's house every year for Christmas so I could say, see, Mom, I got the same date. It's not another one every year like usual. So I needed that from you. And you didn't need to know that I was still having sex with the whole town. That's none of your concern. When you went through my diary, which you had no right to do, that was the end. When I found out that, I was through. Never mind what you found in there. That doesn't matter. Who cares? Oof. And I know when you found out about the other guys and the girl, you made such a big deal and demanded that I confess to you what I did. Honey, that's none of your business. As far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't have been looking through my things. That's it. If you hadn't looked through my things, you wouldn't be doing this now. So stay out of my things. Is it that hard to follow? Come on now. I don't go through your things. Well, at least when you're around. Forget it.
Hi, please. Oh.
Hi, I'm Sandy Hoaxtar. This is my real creature. Not sure what it is yet, but she sure is sweet. Want to suckle? Suckle some milk? Ooh, I'm Sandy Hoaxtar. Welcome back to Channel 5 Fake News. Only our news is real. I thought I'd give you a little bit of information today. You think you live in a democracy? Do you, honey? Do you think you live in a democracy? Well, honey, you don't. You live in a dictatorship. You sure do. Now, of course, we're given the illusion that there are two sides. There's a right and a left. But, honey, that's all for show. That is fake. Truth is, the left and the right are both puppets. There are puppeteers that none of us know who they are. They are in charge of the whole thing. So we, the people, think we're so smart, and I'm on this side, but you're on that side, so I'm going to show you how I'm right and you're wrong, and it's going to keep us busy so we don't notice what the evil reptilian monsters are doing to everyone else's freedom. This is serious. Something needs to be done.
So how do you like that for the all-seeing eye? Pretty good, ain't it?
I'm a shapeshifter. I'm a reptilian, and you're going to have to accept it.
We're all over the place anyway. We're running your world.
We run everything. Hillary Clinton, she's one of us. Barack Obama gay, he's one of us. We're all over. You're just going to have to accept it. We're transhuman. We're trans-lesbian.